Hi everyone, Amy here. When I saw this paper pack called Memory Lane, I immediately thought that these were birdhouses because you just see those little icons online. And I thought, oh, it's perfect because I just took an awesome picture of a little bird bringing back a little bug, looks like a daddy long legs, for his or her babies. And I thought, oh, this is perfect. And then when I realized they were houses, I said to my friend, oh, I thought they were birdhouses. And she's like, you can totally still use them. So today, I am going to scrapbook my little bird friend. I have a bunch of pictures from my backyard that day when I was watching him. And so these are the pictures I'm going to do. They're all portrait. And I don't have a sketch. I haven't looked one up, but I do have kind of an idea of where I want to go with this layout. So I am going to be bringing in a little bit of wood grain, and I've already used some of it to make some embellishments, which you'll see later on. So I'm going to bring in some of this wood grain. I think it goes nice with the wood fence and the birdhouse and such. So I'm going to be doing that, and yeah, come along with me for the ride. I really couldn't see myself using the back of this sheet, so I'm gonna go with it for my base pages, I think. I like the look of the sort of a sky look in the background. It does look a little bit like a sunset, but I do have some like colorful, little bit of colors of clouds in the background of my pictures because it was just kind of the evening. So I'm facing the wrong way for the sunset. These photos are facing to the east, but still, I think it'll work. And I really can't picture myself using this, so that makes it even better. So just gonna make sure I'm straight in the frame for you guys. And I am, for this layout, gonna butt them right against each other because I think I'm gonna have a continuous, especially since I have to do 3 across. So I may even just cut, because you won't see any of this, because I'm going to do 3 across like that for here, and it should just fit. The other option is I could kind of stagger them a little bit, which I might do, and then a couple here. So he is sort of facing out of the layout, so I'm wondering if I should kind of maybe do it more like this. Here he's up here. And then kind of stagger them across this way, and this will leave spaces for me to embellish. And then and then I would actually think I would like to double mat this one. So I have to think, like, which paper would I like? And I'm pretty sure I want to go with this one. Although I did want to do some of this in the background as well. There's that. There's a yellow option here. Oh, I don't mind that. It brings out the wood a little bit. And there's this option with a little bit of flowers on it. That's all right. I don't like it as much. It's a little bit too cutesy for me. And then there's the houses, which I could use, and then you wouldn't see much of them, and you might not notice that they are not birdhouses. And I also have that wood grain, so that might look good as well. Kind of hard to make a choice on this. I definitely want to use this one, so I think maybe it will go in the background. So like this. And then I definitely want to have more of the wood grain, but I could just have little bits kind of sticking out over here. I think I'm gonna go with the yellow, with this yellow to frame him, because that really makes him pop out a little bit, and I think that's nice because that's kind of what I want. So I'm gonna get a few mats cut, and then I'll bring you back in and kind of start to work on this layout, see if it will come together. I want to show you how I made this little birdhouse embellishment. So I'll start with showing you. I stamped the birdhouse on here. I'm going to use the mirror image of it. So I want to use this side, which is what this is. Then I stamped it on blue. I only needed the top part because I only need the trim. And I'm only, like I said, I'm only going to use this. And then I stamped it on white so I would get this dark line around the edge, and then I could cut it out like an embellishment. So it has a bit of a white edge around it. So I'm going to speed up the video, but it's a lot of cutting, and it's up to you whether you want to do it, but this is how I do it. So here is a very sped up version of all of my fussy cutting. I fussy cut out the little trim from the roof in the sapphire blue. I cut out the house on the white background. I left a little bit of white all the way around it. And I cut out the house on the wood grain paper, planning to use the back side of it so it doesn't have the windows. And I cut that one just inside the line around the edge. And the reason I did that is because once I put it onto the white background, I wanted that line to still show. And in the places where it was covered up or I hadn't done a perfect job, I just took a pen and drew around it again to make it really look like it was a stamped image that was filled in with paper. I had some circle punches, so I punched out a blue circle and a white circle, and I used those for the little hole into the birdhouse. I also inked around the wood grain before I glued it down, and I inked quite heavily on the top because that is where the shadow would be cast by the little roof, the little overhang of the roof. So it just kind of gives it a little bit more depth. I used liquid glue to put everything together, and it's nice because you have a few seconds to slide it into place, although it is fairly fast drying, so you do have to work a little bit quickly. I used the heart from the stamp set that comes with this paper packet to make a little birdie doorway on the third birdhouse. The next thing I did was I used a little bit of Harbor ink to add a little bit of blue tones to this, these little sprigs and leaves. I believe it's called a Sprigs and Leaves die cut. It's the size of a slimline card. Then I inked them up with some espresso ink, and I kind of added some ink on the stem to make the stem look a little more brown, and just to give them some depth in general. But I felt they didn't match the paper great, so that's why I put a little bit of Harbor ink on them. And they are supposed to be the color that's featured in this paper pack, but this particular piece of pattern paper has a bluey tinge to it, so I just wanted that to kind of be reflected in the leaves as well. So I decided to cut my paper to 3 inches, and I was going to put a piece on each side. I was going to do mirror image of each other on each side of the layout, even though the pictures are a little bit different because there's 3 on one side and 2 on the other. And you'll notice that on the far right, I cut that one picture down. I just liked it better smaller. There was no need for it to be so big because it's the same as all the others. And I just thought, oh, it will look a lot nicer this way. And I have some room for some more embellishments and some journaling. You'll notice that I've added some wood grain paper on the bottom. This was from my stash, and then the house paper on the top. So the green pattern paper is 3 inches. The wood grain paper is 1 inch, and the house paper is 2 inches wide. Then I matted with this sorbet color. I'm not sure if it's sorbet, but I think so. And at this point, I decided that I wanted to have some ripping or something a little more creative. So you can see already that I've done it on the left-hand side off camera. So I'm doing the right-hand side on camera for you to watch. I ripped this piece and then I ripped the wood grain piece and I used the tape runner to put them right away together. And then I taped them onto the 3-inch piece so that it was like a continuous border from one side to the other. Or not really a border, but a line. I also did ink the edges of the paper before I did this. The yellow piece that you see, I also ripped that yellow piece, and that one is 3/4 of an inch. Now I'm starting to bring in my embellishments. You'll see me skip ahead in a minute because it took me a long time to decide where to put them. So I decided not to add all that or the video would be way too long. But I did decide also to add some stamping in the background. So this is the Dreammaker little words, little type that you can stamp in the background. I'm just using Pebble ink. That's an older ink, but it's barely darker. We do have a current stamp set that also has type that you can use in the background, like it looks like a paragraph from a book or something. And I'll link that one down below. I'm not sure if this one, I think the Dreammaker special is over and I don't think this one's available any longer, but that other stamp set is, and it would give you the same effect. Other than the sprigs and the birdhouses, everything I'm using here is from the sticker sheet. The title is Live in the Moment because it seemed fitting to me. The bird lives in the moment, feeding his family until they fly the nest. And I had to be in the moment to get those pictures as soon as I saw him flying back and forth like that. And it was just really fun to watch this little wren these little wrens raise their little family. And they're such beautiful little singers too. They definitely cheered up my backyard. I loved it. I like this little typing in the background so much that I added some more. You can really add a lot when it's more of a subtle color. And I glued a few things down and then I put this little ink splotch stamp on the end of my finger. And I used mink ink, which is another shade darker yet, and just kind of created another layer by dabbing it here and there. And I added some of the little enamel dots. These little ones were just from my stash, but we have lots of different colors available and I will link some down below for you. Well, I've just added the last finishing touches, so this layout is done. I'm really happy with the way it turned out, especially that type in the background. It's so subtle, but I just love how it looks. Pastels are not usually my jam, so I'm really happy that I'm so excited about this layout. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I would absolutely love it if you did. It really helps me out, and even giving me that thumbs up. Liking this video really helps me out on my YouTube adventure. So thanks so much for watching, and I will catch you next time. Bye, everyone.